Mm. Oh.
All things, all people, all life, all love. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. All health, all compassion, all peace, all joy. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. All that is good, all that is beautiful, all that is pure, all that is bountiful. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. All things, all people, all life, all love. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. All that is good, all that is beautiful, all that is pure, all that is bountiful. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. The all of it all is all that there is. The all of it all is all that there is. The all of it all is all that there is. The all of it all is all that there is. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all. I am one with it all, one with the all of it all.
Friends, my name is Eddie Cash Dudley, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees here at the Center for Spiritual Living, West Hawaii. In the spirit of aloha, I welcome you to our Sunday celebration.
She got what? Oh.
As we open our service, we acknowledge that in West Hawaii, we honor the rich and ancient heritage of Kanaka Maoli, the native people of Hawaii. We honor all communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. As we open our service, we acknowledge that in West Hawaii, we honor the rich and ancient heritage of Kanaka Maoli, the native people of Hawaii. We honor all communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. At CSL West Hawaii, we discover the truth of who we are through our center's vision of contributing to an emerging world by supporting humanity's awareness to its spiritual connection. We support this vision through our mission, which is to be a joyfully accepting, serving, and compassionate ohana, focused on holistic and mindful community growth through spiritual principles and practices. The spiritual truth is that we all belong to each other, and this calls for us to be inclusive, to celebrate and embrace our unique identities, abilities, status, age, ethnicity, and gender identification, national origin, physical characteristics, race, religion, and sexual orientation. I invite you now to set an intention for this week. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to sink into the feeling of that intention right now as you open to receive Spirit's guidance throughout our time together. As our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, taught, in principle, the great religions of the world do not differ as much as they appear to. That is why each time at the beginning of each gathering, we recognize and honor a variety of religions as sacred paths to God. I now invite Kim to lead us in lighting the flames of faith.
Good morning, everyone. We perform this ceremony each Sunday to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all faiths, all sentient beings, all peoples come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all spiritual thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for the native traditions, including, of course, the Hawaiian tradition, the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality, and the spirit in all creation. We light a candle for Confucianism, honoring the path of deliberate tradition, We light a candle for Shintoism, honoring the path of optimism and inherent goodness in humanity. We light a candle for Akan, honoring the path of divine ancestors and nature. We light a candle for Science of Mind, honoring the path of adherence to the universal spiritual law and transformation through the commitment to our spiritual practices. We light all these candles for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We also light these candles as healing candles, so you may, if you choose, put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. We invite you to hold sacred any and all faiths in all their multiplicity by knowing love is the highest power that guides them all. Namaste, and so it is.
Thank you, Kim, for leading us in the lighting the flames of faith. We realize that today's trends offer up many options of spiritual soul food, and we are grateful that you dropped in to visit us today. We welcome you, and if you're with us for the first time, please consider joining in at the end of the service for our after chat, a time to connect and explore today's message a little further. And we'd love it if you could put your email address in the chat so that we can better welcome you, along with any other comments and insight that you would like to share about today's services. So now, let us consciously engage in spiritual practice together. We invite you to settle in, center yourself in the moment, and find that sacred place within you where the spirit is all there is. Our centering time today will be led by Kim Schneider, but first, we begin with an affirmative prayer. Please join with me in consciousness, knowing that there is only one life, one mind, one all creative force and infinite intelligence, known as God, Spirit, Love, Keakua, the divine. This one mind is the originating cause of all life, seen and unseen, known and unknown. It is the substance from which I am, the energy that moves me, sustains me, and nurtures me into a greater expansion of expression, so it may know through experience the fullness of itself. I speak my word for the part of me in the universe known as the multiple expressions within humanity. As I contemplate my place within this universe, I remember that God is ultimately energy in motion, infusing itself into its creation, making all sacred with its one nature. Within the sacred is infinite potential for unbound prosperity to be experienced through all those who accept the truth and live in expectancy of this truth. I know that God is money in action, God is health in action, God is love in action, God is joy in action. As I set my sole intention from a place of greater acceptance of my good, a good that serves the highest and best of us all, and as I open to receive this good, I feel an even greater good blessing me, with deep appreciation for the allness of God as the one life inspired by love and the law of its being. I reveal infinite abundance through and as my life. I release anything obstructing me from cultivating this loving acceptance and connection for the presence of Keakua as me and as all, here and now, knowing the powerful work of the law of mind is happening. And so it is. Kim?
So it is. I'm going to begin with a quote that I found this week, and it's from Mary Pickford. She was a silent movie film star. If you had made mistakes, there's always another chance for you. You may have a fresh start at any moment you choose. For this thing we call failure is not the falling down, but it's the staying down. So the meditation I have today is about a circle of friends. It's about friendship. It's about love. And at one level, we're all connected, but sometimes it's easy to feel alone. This meditation helps remind you of your connection and helps you to remember that you are loved. No one can walk your path for you, but you can certainly invite supportive, loving people to share the process along the way. So join with me in taking a centering breath, breathing in that love. You are walking along a beautiful path leading through an ancient forest. The air smells fresh and clean. The wind stirs and you feel yourself embraced by the loving presence of this sacred forest. You feel a deep sense of reverence and awe. Off in the distance, you hear birds singing and a brook as it tumbles over the moss-covered rocks. You feel totally safe, loved, and at peace. The path is soft underfoot. As the sunlight filters through the canopy of trees, it creates sparkles of shimmering light. You move effortlessly along. You notice a fork in the trail, and you instinctively take the right path. Up ahead, there's a clearing. As you walk into the clearing, it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust to the bright light. When you look around, you see many other men and women gathering in the clearing. You realize you've entered a circle of friends. Standing there, you hear laughter and joy. At a profound level, you realize you are in the presence of incredible wisdom. You take a deep breath and step into the center of the circle. One by one, the women stand in front of you and look deeply into your eyes and say, you are loved, you are lovable, you are love. You allow their love to flow into you. Their love touches you at a profound level, and you know what it feels like to be loved unconditionally. As a tear slowly finds its way down your cheek, you are filled with a sense of peace, ease, and joy. You are love, you are lovable, and you are loved. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Kim. I love that phrase that you used, instinctively doing the right thing. I love that. Anyway, would you like to have more of that sacred spiritual connection? Our minister is here to support you in learning to live from this place. And now, kicking off our October theme, Prosperous Me, Open Your Mind to Receive, is today's speaker, Reverend Dr. Sue Rubin, with her talk entitled The Soul of Money. But first, a bit about Dr. Sue. Dr. Sue Rubin started studying Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind in the 70s in Southern California with Dr. Tom Johnson and Dr. Leo Fishbeck. In 1985, she headed to Edmonton, Alberta, that's in Canada, by the way, as the first minister of what would also become chartered as the First Church of Religious Science, Edmonton, where she trained many practitioners and ministers. After leaving Edmonton in 1995, Dr. Sue headed to Honolulu for a few months as an interim minister in Honolulu. That's in Hawaii. After which, she went on to serve for 13 years as the senior minister of the Center for Spiritual Living, Westlake Village, Since leaving full-time ministry in Westlake in 2009, Dr. Sue continues guest speaking, teaching, and mentoring. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Sue. Thank you.
We can't hear you yet, Dr. Sue. You'll get it. Let's just do a silent treatment. Huh. Knowing that this beautiful technology works for all of us in our favor right here and right now, and opens up all the channels and pathways to the greater one and the voice of spirit through that which is known as Dr. Sue Rubin. We take a deep breath and we rely on this beautiful thing called technology. And we know that it moves everything that is in this message to our ears and into the embodiment of our minds. Knowing that Dr.
Even as she speaks.
There we are. Thank you so much. Thank you, Spirit.
Hey, you pulled a Rubin. You stopped.
Well, I was in your presence. I had to go to treatment.
Anyway, hello, and it's great to be with one and all of you. And today we are talking about the soul of money. And, you know, I feel there's a big distinction to be made between prosperity and abundance. And the way that I like to look at it, and I think according to divine law, the way the principle works is that abundance is the cause to prosperity. That abundance is that which abounds, that which is infilled and infused with something that doesn't require anything outward to be put into us, but rather it's something that's already within us as part of the real richness of our being, which is God in action, just as it's been already stated so much of where we've been together for years and now for these moments. So I have that sense that if abundance is cause to prosperity, then cause always abides where and abounds where? In consciousness, in what we're aware of and in that which we're not necessarily aware of. And from within that dimension of the invisible becoming the visible, that's up to you and it's up to me. And I love the quotation, money is God in action. And I think Raymond Charles Barker was the one to originally initiate that. And from that point, I personally had not known Dr. Barker because by that time when he was in New York, I was already in California. But when he came to California and did a prosperity and abundance seminar one week at the Granada Hills Center, and for those of you who may or may not have known her, that was the time that Dr. Kathleen McLaughlin was the minister. Subsequently, of course, Mike Murrow and Dr. Maureen Hoyt replaced her. But anyway, we did a workshop, and what Barker had us do on the intermission was to distribute dollar bills, go out during our lunchtime and just walk up to anybody and just say, I know that you accept this beautiful gift without even knowing who's giving it to you. And the response it was interesting on both parts, both on the giver and on the receiver. I can remember at the time when we're going back, oh my God, probably to the late 70s or early 80s. I can remember my own embarrassment, like somebody might accuse me of being a scam artist. That would be more in today's environment. And more interesting was the way that everyone else responded by, oh, no, that's okay. That's not necessary. Very few of the many people that we approached simply on the streets or in a restaurant were receptive to say, well, thank you. And I pay it forward, or some, metaphysical clue that they knew part of knowing what you have involves giving it. Because if you don't know what you have within your own inner resources, you can't possibly be able to give. You can't give from an empty tank. You can only give when the inner resources of that abundance of the divine are clearly recognizable and realized within every fiber of your being, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and how you stand by them in the actions you take always. And so that was my early experience on the fact that later on, through the universal teachings of the science of mind, I realized that statement even more fully, that you can't give what you don't know you have. And anything and everything that we see coming into our world and leaving, and would you agree there's plenty to be looking at that's going on in our world, most of it being felt as something being done. Why is everybody acting like this, doing this environmentally, politically, economically, in every which way? But that's only the collection of what's already been going on within individualized consciousness. The other vivid experience that I personally remember about abundance is when I first signed on to come up to Edmonton, and that would have been 1985. And I had originally candidated on Labor Day weekend of that 1985. And when I arrived, I was met at the plane by one of the practitioners of the then Center for Self-Awareness. It was an independent New Thought work at that time, which subsequently became the First Church of Religious Science, and then Center for Spiritual Awareness, center within RE, I get it. And so it still is there and in the same facility we bought. But anyway, I got off the plane and candidated, and knew for some illogical reason that I couldn't explain that I would go. That's it, I'm going. And something would get me there when my kids would answer. And there was only one 20-year-old still living at home. My other two kids were already out on their own. And when they would ask me, well, what's the deal, Mom? Why would you even think about leaving? Although they were already doing their own thing. And after all was said and done, and I did agree that I would come up, that time I was met at the plane by the same person. And she said to me, oh, Reverend Sue, we're so happy you were willing to begin this ministry with us as now the Church of Religious Science. And how nice of you to accept the minimum salary that we offered. And at that moment, we both kind of did a double take. And we both realized we never negotiated a price. I was going by the, at the time, minimum required for a chartered religious science church to open their doors and for a minister to come and be their, spiritual person, supposedly. But we never talked about price. And there I was, bag and baggage. And so I felt something afterward, and certainly even more in subsequent years, that was part of knowing there was something within myself that was already rich and abundant in its capacity to express creativity and innovativeness and even something I had never done before, which was to be the spiritual, quote unquote, director or leader of a startup metaphysical teaching called the Science of Mind, called in the organization Religious Science. And yet that was the turning point for fully realizing the ease with which money, although it apparently isn't that easy for everyone, does have its innate real richness in being able to say something I used to say years ago. Probably it came from Tom Johnson, and that was the affirmation: I am independently wealthy. I am rich beyond measure. In fact, let's say that together, whether you're watching and or in the Zoom room, wherever you are doing whatever you're doing. Let's all say together: I am independently wealthy. I am rich beyond measure. And somehow that has gratefully been the way it is. And to be honest, I think the explanation, if there would need to be one about that, is because I am mandatorily required, as all of us are, to keep practicing the principle. There's no excuse any longer, not even for special occasions, to forsake what we know to be the absolute truth, the whole truth, and only the truth, that there is one source of all sufficiency, and that is the substance, the as yet unformed energy of divine intelligence and love, the love and the law working together for whatever we are sending forth from our consciousness. So we're either giving and aware of and expressing and realizing that my source is within. It's changeless, it's permanent, it's eternal. And it is that from which I see comes my greatest good, be it health, wealth, love, creativity, anything and everything, because in this infinite universe, that's all there ever is. One God, one mind, one absolute first cause, one creative medium, one manifestation. And so our purpose is really to be intentional. And the book that I really like, and it bears the title of today's talk, is The Soul of Money. And it was written, anybody read it? As Tom Johnson used to raise his hand. How many read it? It was written in 20 years ago by a lady named Lynn Twist. And the purpose of her writing it was she worked at that time at being a fundraiser. And she started, along with her metaphysical and spiritual studies, examining, well, what is this thing called consciousness, the consciousness of sufficiency rather than the consciousness of scarcity, which we see economically. You know, not everyone is sitting on the top of the gold pile. And so that issue rests within the fear of scarcity, the fear of not enoughness. And she realized that the very basis of developing this consciousness of abundance, which gives rise to prosperity, is to have that sense, I'm not looking for more, because if I look for more, I really am extending a consciousness of lack. But if I know that there's always enough of everything that I desire and require to live a fulfilling and intentionally conscious life, dedicating to be all of what I potentially can be, so that I make the difference as that wholeness of self, to make the difference in the world and to others that I also want to accompany my identity. So the dilemma has, I believe, remained the same for years, and probably until a paradigm shift is gathered in consciousness by enough people, will continue. And how important it is for those of us who are studying and practicing and living from this gold standard that God is, I am. And above and beyond and through that, there is really nothing. Everything emerges and evolves into its manifestation as a result of who I am treating myself as being, the divine being or the but I'm only human, mortal perception of what it means to experience lack and limitation and not to feel worthy. And so remember when it was very important and still is, I think, in the original teachings of prosperity gurus, to keep your money in an orderly, neat state. I can remember treating for someone, with someone, and in the very early stages of my ministry. And she said, I do want to pay you today, but I can only offer what, $5, $10, and proceeded to take a wad of dollar bills, all messed up, aged, and it's almost like, ooh, I don't know, and peel them off one by one. Then she actually gave me, I think it was $9. And on the 10th bill, she said, oh, would 9 be enough? And so, coming from Goddess, I am the sufficiency of life, independently wealthy, rich beyond measure. I said, sure, that's fine. And I would suggest that, number one, go home and straighten out your bills, because the way you're treating your money is the way you're treating yourself. And there's a negligence that I kindly suggest might be happening here. And so we learn as we grow, and as we grow, we learn. It's simply the manner of life and the way it is constantly unfolding, transcending age or wherever we are within any given condition. And yet the condition we're in is already incorporated into what follows. So let the good and the richness and the allness of life be what propels mine by your conscious direction and my conscious direction of living from the total self that truly recognizes a fullness and a richness of being. And so Lynn went on to create the principles that really are universal principles about being directed from a place that wants to serve. Because when you know who you are within the one source, that energy, that unformed substance that's waiting to be formed by the way we direct it, what we know about ourselves, has to start from, I always have that which I feel I am, because it's not anything that's ever happening to me. We know that. Everything that is happening to me has first come through me. And so money, being that godly spiritual principle of wholeness, simply is waiting for us to know that my source, my primary identity, my first go-to, no matter where I am, whom I'm engaging with, whether myself singularly or alone in a crowd, I'm still recognizing at some part that loop isn't offering me questions or debates about who I am. It's reminding me to take those deep breaths and simply affirm and declare that right where I am, God is, and all that God is, I am. I am the prospering, loving, creative energy of a substance that is forever available. And of course, classically, particularly, I would say where you are in Hawaii, those of you in Canada, the United States, yes, the mountains are beautiful, and all the sand on the beach, and all the apples on the trees, and all the water that flows through streams and rivers and oceans is ongoing. It's never stopped with all of the drama and chaos. So let us, particularly in our own human times and places and things of this day and age, contribute what the world most needs. And that really, I think, boils down to a love of the self, which God is, which is always affluent and lavishly endowed and richly filled with that which represents infinite good and ultimate reality. And that's the way it really is. And so it is.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. I have enough. I'll always have enough, and I'll always have more than enough. What a wonderful message this morning. Not only in money, but in all the areas of my life, I will always have enough. Thank you. So inspiring this morning.
Thank you.
And please join us next Sunday as we welcome Reverend Dr. Nadine Rogers for our first, drum roll, in-person celebration service in Waikoloa Village with her message, have your cake and eat it too. We're so excited about that.
Lovely.
And now it's time for our conscious giving, an opportunity to participate in the law of circulation. I went to the mailbox yesterday and there were checks there. I just want to say thank you. I haven't opened them yet, but I'm expecting miracles. We know that you have to receive as well as give. So we invite you to let your divine inner wisdom choose the blessing of joy that calls to you, whether it's one on the screen or something from your higher self. Keep it with you all week long and remember how much you are loved. Wonderful. And now we can complete the law of circulation by giving back. I invite you to invoke the feeling of gratitude through thoughts of infinite possibility right where you are, allowing that to fill you and the space around you. Thank you for all the ways you support this center and the community, whether it be in the form of a donation, your time, or by sharing your positive light out into the world. And now let's speak our prosperity affirmation together. This gift I give is God in action. I give it in love. I give it in joy. I give it in gratitude. I give it knowing that it is given again. And so I graciously give. And so it is. We offer easy ways to donate your offering. You can make the donations through our website, CSLWH, which stands for Center for Spiritual Living West Hawaii.org, or by sending a check to the address on the slide. We gratefully receive your gifts and tithes. Your support allows us to connect with each other to create a center where we can thrive and learn to contribute to a world that works for everyone. And now, but not least, here is a variety of ways to connect and engage in community. Sharing the Bounty Fund Fall Fundraiser is our online silent auction fall fundraiser, which will go live for bidding on October 8th. Thank you to all of those who have generously donated items, some of which are a complete end-of-life legal package, Pilates and hyperbaric sessions, spiritual living courses and coaching packages, art, and much more. Part of the proceeds from this auction will be paid forward to the Waimea Food Pantry, St. James Parish, and United Way, Maui. We have a sacred prayer circle on Monday, October 16th from 6 to 7 p.m. All are welcome to a time of setting a new intention for their lives and being supported in activating the law of mind and action. This is a gentle, confidential space in which we gain clarity and claim your good. Our summer book study was such a success, we are offering another one running on Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for 6 weeks beginning on October 18th. We are using a book entitled God Works Through You by author Dr. Robert Russell. The investment is $40. Self-Mastery, The Emergence of the True Self, October 19th through November 30th, from 6 to 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. This is a Science of Mind accredited course facilitated by Dr. Nadine Rogers and focuses on healing, revealing the perceived separation between personality and spirit to gain mastery in the art of conscious living. The investment is $150. We also invite you to our Sunset Ohana meetup. It's on Sunday, October 22nd, from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at Spencer Beach Park. Bring some poo-poos and refreshments to share, or come as you are to join in the fun sharing and spiritually open conversation. This is a great way to introduce others to Center for Spiritual Living, West Hawaii community. At long last, we are beginning our in-person Sunday celebration on October 8th at Waikoloa Village. Our first guest speaker will be our interim senior minister, Reverend Dr. Nadine Rogers, accompanied by guest musician, Joseph Coleman. Come for the music, stay for the message, and then enjoy connection over poo-poos and refreshments. Tell your family and friends, let's make this a true celebration of all that has gone before, is new today, and is awaiting us together. In-person celebration will run the second Sunday of the month for now. We will reassess in the new year. Links to these events and to register can be found on our website calendar, cslwh.org, or feel free to email us at cslwh.board@gmail.com. On behalf of our entire community, thank you for being part of our spiritual family today, and we look forward to seeing you again. Please stay in our Zoom room and join us after our closing for our after chat with Dr. Rubin directing after the closing prayer and peace song. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Sue to close our service with an affirmative prayer.
And so I start with affirming this absolute truth in the first person, since I am is that one name for everybody according to the divine nature. So take these words, knowing they are personal unto yourselves as well as the collective whole. I give thanks for tapping more fully from this point forward upon the inner resources of my divine nature, knowing that I am infilled, infused, immersed in, and surrounded by an abundant, rich beyond measure universe. And that universe is uniquely revealing itself through my freedom in my relationship with myself, knowing who I truly am: perfect God, perfect mind, perfect life, perfect being. And from in this divine identity, there is always enough and more than enough that requires only my embodiment on a consistent basis through daily spiritual practices to know I am the source of all that is within my own universe, which is one with the cosmic universe. And I remain open and receptive as I move forward from here today to truly be more consciously aware of what I think, how I feel, what I believe, and how that becomes my expression of life, the words I speak in my interaction, be it with myself or with others. So I know that life itself is calling me to this higher standard of being, that which is the perfection and wholeness of life. And so I benefit not just myself by affirming my oneness with God, but by declaring it is the oneness of all, with all, as all. Well, when it's all said and done, there's only one of us showing up as many of us, and in that true nature of wholeness, fullness, and richness of being. So I give freely because I have so freely already been given. And out of this richness comes my purpose, my intention, my true desire from the soul outward to be all that I came to be and to make a difference in the ways that are uniquely mine to do. So for this and so much more than words can express, I accept and give thanks for this already being so, and for now working its way through my own humanity as throughout all humanity in wondrous new ways of peace, harmony, oneness, goodness. And so it is.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Now we're going to sing the peace song before we go to our after chat. The words are on your screen. We sing it a little bit differently than it was originally written. So, but go ahead and sing along. Feel free to unmute yourself and sing along. Thank you. There be the peace that we stand to with God and we are family. Let us live together in perfect harmony. Let peace be everything. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let me bring joy and light. Make each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and it has begun with this peace.
Now that was fun.
You know, it's a perfect lesson for today's world, all the cacophony that's going on all around us to maintain, let there be peace, not wavering, but staying on center. Oh my.
So hang out for the after chat.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Carly,